วัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ชื่อใบไผ่ครับอยู่ KBTG เป็นเด็บครับ
อันนี้นี่ไลฟ์
ครับอันนี้ไลฟ์ขึ้นออสครับเห็นผมไม่แน่ใจว่าจะตั้งตรงไหนได้
อ๋อเชิญครับเชิญ
ครับสวัสดีครับน้อง
ครับรู้สึกอะไร
ครับ
ตั้งเลยฮะตั้งเลยฮะ
ครับ
เชิญครับ
ได้ครับผมเห็นขาตั้งกล้องผมก็เขินเลย
เหมือนกัน
ที่ไปชวนมา
ฮะ
ไปชวนใคร
ไม่เขามาช่วยไลฟ์
ผมวางไว้ตรงไหนที่จะได้เขียนได้ตรงนี้นะที่จะ
แถ
ได้
วนี้
เขียน
แห
ได้
ละแถวนี้แหละ
ครับก็ใครที่มาฝากกดแชร์ด้วยมันอยู่ในเพจ OS นะครับ OWDS ครับ
ใครกินข้าวเช้าอะไรมา
กินข้าวเช้าเป็นข้าวสวยครับมีคุณเชียงแล้วก็ไข่ดาวฟองเล็กๆครับน้ำเปล่าอีกแก้
ข้าว
ว
กี่เม็ดครับ
ครับ
ถามละเอียดไป
ถามละเอียดไป
ถ้าข้าวนับเป็นเม็ดคงไม่วัดเป็นหน่วยกิโลกันแล้ว
ข้าวกี่กรัมครับ
เสียงผมมาอีกคนแล้ว
ครับฝาก
โอเค
กดแชร์หน่อย
MC
ไม่เห็นขึ้นฟีดผมเลย
MC
ใช่มัน
เริ่มสนุกแล้ว
คุณต้องกดตัดตะไคร้
ครับนายฮะครับต้องแนะนำตัวครับเขาแนะนำตัวกันหมดแล้วครับ3 ข้อครับ
สามข้อคืออะไรบ้างครับ
ชื่อทำอะไรแล้วก็ข้าวเช้าฮะ
พี่ใหม่ห้องตอนโดน
ชื่อชาญครับ เป็น UX designer ที่เอาเบอร์ครับ เมื่อเช้าทานกาแฟแก้วเดียว
นี่ครับผมอยากถามหน่อยแบบช่วงรอเพราะว่าเขากำลังกินข้าวอยู่ช่วยผมเขียน expectation หน่อยได้ไหมผมอยากจะอย่างน้อยคำถามที่เราถามเราจะได้แบบดับเบิลเช็คกันตอนสุดท้ายว่าตอบโจทย์ได้จริงๆหรือเปล่าไม่รู้อย่างน้อยเราก็อยากจะแบบขอสักใบ2 ใบ expectation วันนี้มาอยากได้อะไรบ้าง
ของพี่ปอน
วันนี้รู้สึกว่าตั้งคู่กันไม่ได้ตั้งสบาย
เพราะว่าเราเอาเก้าอี้เล็กเข้าไปข้างในด้วยไหม
วันนี้อยากได้
ได้มีที่เพิ่ม
วันนี้อยากมาฟังคิดว่าอยากได้อะไรอยากตอบคำถามอะไรแล้วเดี๋ยวเรามีคำถามจากฝั่งใน Facebook กันด้วยแต่ว่าอยากจะเช็คคนที่มาด้วยว่าอย่างน้อยมาด้วยตัวเนี่ยมันลำบากกว่าดูอยู่ที่บ้านเพราะฉะนั้นอยากให้คนที่มาที่นี่ได้มากกว่าประมาณนั้นขอสักใบ2 ใบฮะ
อ๋อลูกศิษย์เราเอง US
เชิญครับเชิญเลย
นั่งได้เลยค่ะนั่งเลย
โพสิตกับปากกาครับช่วยขอสัก1 ใบฮะว่ามางานนี้อยากได้อะไรแล้วก็ช่วยแปะตรงนี้เลยครับข้างหลังฮะ
นี่มีภายในไลฟ์ตรงนี้ได้ไหมพี่จะไปไลฟ์ข้างในที่ไหนข้างใน
ข้างใน PT ด้วยเหรอพี่
ฮะเราต้องแบ่งทีม
ผมมีออกซับเวิร์กอยู่แล้วนี่
โอเค
ผมก็เก็บได้มีโปรดักชั่นใหญ่
คมอะไรคืออะไรโอ้โหไม่ตู้ไม่ดี
แปะยังฮะเฮ้ยคิดว่ากลับมาแปะเสร็จแล้วเร็ว ขอใบเดียวลุกมาได้เลยครับตัดเลยครับไม่ต้องเขินครับเราคนกันเองฮะ
ระวังน้ำ
เชิญครับนั่งเลยนั่งเลย
ข้างในดีคะ
นั่งเลยฮะ
คนพูดเขาจะนั่งตรงไหนคะ
คือคนพูดนั่งนี่เดี๋ยวผมกับปอนนั่ง2 คนสัมภาษณ์
พี่ปอนน่าจะไปไลฟ์ห้องโน้นนะ
อะไรนะ
พี่ปอนน่าจะไปไลฟ์ข้างในห้อง
อ๋อไปไลฟ์ห้องโน้นโอเค
อาจจะไม่ได้มา
แยกกันเฮ้ยแต่ผมทักเขาแล้วว่าเขาต้องมาเป็น MC กับผม เพราะว่า MC ผมโบยไปแล้วมีใครแปะอีกไหมครับ
ให้เขียนอะไร
วันนี้อยากได้อะไร
แค่เขียน
หืมเขียนมาเถอะลองเช็คดู
เราใครเป็นคนพูดนะคะ
โปรดักครับโปรดักเราจะได้อย่างน้อยลองฟังดูว่าโปรดักมันต่างกับ UX ไงวะมีไหมครับใบเดียวเอง How do you balance everyone's need อยากฟังประสบการณ์ของคนอื่นที่มาแบ่งปัน What are the key value of qualification for PO or UX designer? What's the next focus steps beyond users?
ได้คุยก่อนเอาเวเอแต่เอาเวเอแบบไม่
โอเคแปะได้แปะเลยครับดีครับยิ่งแปะจะได้รู้ว่า
อันเดียวกับ
น้ำหนักเยอะขึ้นดีครับ
นั่งเก้าอี้
อ่ะโอเคครับผมนั่งไหนครับ
นั่งนี่ฮะนั่งกับผมสองคน
นี่เลย
นะ
แค่ผมนั่งไหน
ชั้นแรก
นั่งโน่นนั่งนี่
เดี๋ยว
สองคนนะเขานั่งตรงนี้
ตัดเข้าไปอีกนิดนึงได้ไหมคะ
ถอยได้ป่ะคุยกับ
อ๋อ ได้อย่างนั้นเดี๋ยวขอเอาเก้าอี้วางข้างในจะได้เพิ่มเนื้อที่
ขอบคุณครับที่ในไลฟ์
เดี๋ยวจะไกลเลยนะ ตาเรายืมปากกา อันเล็กๆหน่อย แบบปากกาทั่วไป
ได้ครับ
อันนี้ของใครของชาใช่ปะ
ใช่
คำถาม
ที่พี่แบงค์เปิด
อยู่ในห้องอยู่ในมีลิสต์คำถามที่พี่อยู่ในถามครับ
ที่ไหนอ่ะถามก่อนพี่แบงค์ไม่มาเหรอ
พี่แบงค์เบี้ยวแล้วครับ คือไม่งั้นผมก็คงไม่เรียกคนมาช่วยนะ
คนโอเคเรียบร้อยโอเคมีการล็อบบี้ด้วยนะตอนจองตัวหนังไว้
อ๋อ
พี่เขาไม่ไปดูหนังอ่ะ
I will see you. Yes, if you want to come, I'll sit here. Want to sit there? Okay, we got the questions.
หาไม่เจออยู่ใน
ฟาซิลิเทเตอร์อินทีวอล์กอลาว
วัวกระลา
Pink cushion, very good. Anyone else want to put some post-it up? All good?
เอาลิสต์คำถามมีอะไรดีพี่
เจอแล้วเจอแล้ว
ขอด้วยได้ไหม
เดี๋ยวแชร์ให้
ทราบว่าโฟน
เอามือถือไม่อยู่
โฟนไลฟ์โฟนเขาไปไลฟ์อยู่
คุก
มีเอาให้ส่งหาใครส่งหาพี่นะ
ไม่ที่วางในโต๊ะวิธี
ฟีดเราอยู่ตรงไหนนะค
อั
รั
น
บ
นี้ไลฟ์เพจไหนคะ
ตอนว่าไทยแลนด์
ออสครับ
ฮอต
If you search Starbucks Thailand, you know.
you want to retweet it
YouTube or
it's not Facebook sorry
found it? Okay. This is to not that casual. Like this. I'm gonna take my shoes off.
Is that a casual one?
No. Oh well, it's a super casual thing to do.
That's how Pete get into the mode.
Okay, into the mode.
You know he switch on.
First thing
When the
Pete
shoe comes
does-
off.
First thing Pete does when he gets to work is take his shoes off.
There you
Yeah,
go,
of course.
there we
That's
go,
the
there you
reason.
go.
That's
Make
how
yourself
I
comfy.
start.
I assume you're other way around. You just put more.
I put his shoes on.
Put more layers on.
I get to work and I put his shoes on.
Oh, okay.
And that's
Is it how you empathize?
yeah. That's you've got to walk in someone's shoes. That's how that works.
There you go. Literally.
These guys are playing Fortnite against each other.
Go start.
ROE.
So I don't know. Like hi everybody. Welcome.
This week tonight in.
I've been told to we can't use that much noise because like we didn't pay for this space. So we will see if they kick us out. We'll see. So my name is Pete. I'm a UX from Podworks.
My name is Pond. I work as product owner.
Okay, cool.
I also have my own YouTube channel.
So today we had an opportunity with the product expert. So this is Katie Rounds. She's a product expert from the UK. And this is Josh Kinal, a UX, designers from Australia.
Yeah, I don't mind if people call me UX designer or
Sure.
an experience designer or just
Sure.
just getting my name right. I'm happy with that.
So Josh and Katie.
Great.
Yes.
Welcome to Thailand. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
So, before we get into the questions, do you want to say anything? Product related? I don't know.
So is this a pirate event?
Yeah.
Like, so we're not allowed to be here.
We're not allowed to be here. No.
Could get kicked out any moment.
It could. Yeah, we could get kicked out any moment. We are filming through your live. Hello.
I think we have enough people to defend.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
block the guard. Yeah.
Block the
So don't worry. Like we'll,
I think we're fine.
yeah.
We'll relax.
All right, I'm fine.
So, could you tell us a little bit of like what you do, how did you come to do it, all that stuff? Just introduce yourself a little bit.
Yep, so I'm Katie Round from the UK, as Pete said. I'm a product specialist within the UK. And I think I came to it through, actually my background's always been retail, so I've always worked in retail, either at the client sites. I used to work for a really large retailer in the UK, and then I moved to more of a product company where we built our own kind of retail communication platform, and I was product owner there, and we sold licenses to different retailers. And then I eventually moved into ThoughtWorks, where I became a product specialist there. So I've always been interested in building really good things for users. I've been interested in breaking down problems, and that's how I ended up in product.
So Josh Kinal, I started as like I went to uni to learn science, to get a science degree. So I wanted to learn how the body worked, so I did biomedical science. And then that naturally like fed into doing a whole bunch of journalism and working with
Naturally. As one does.
Ended up doing broadcasting for about 25 years. Did a whole lot of podcasting. In between then, though, the journalism taught me design skills. Somewhere along the line, I started playing around with HTML and CSS, which got me into the web game. And then I discovered that people knew how to like build websites and put them on the web, but not make them work well. So I started to talk about how to make things for users, and then that ended up actually being a thing. I didn't have a name for it, and I just kept going to conferences and South by Southwest, and then then I was a content strategist because that seemed to fit
Yeah.
what I did, and then like it just kind of evolved until I just went, oh, I'm a designer. That's fine.
Great. You finally here.
Yeah.
So that we are on the same page. What exactly do you do 9 to 5? Like we have this question like, what do you do? Why is it different from me? What I'm doing?
Well, maybe
That could
start
prob-
starting with one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, firstly, 9 to 5 is only about 75% of our work hours.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
yeah. So 75% of our work, 9 to 5.
So what's a day like in your shoes? Your typical day.
Yeah, so that could take a long time to answer in. So there's not really a typical day
alright.
that I think I found, and me and Pete were talking about this actually with Joss a few days ago. The role of the product owner or product manager or product specialist, depending on where you are, it changes depending on where who you're working for and what stage of the product kind of life cycle. So. A typical day for me could be going in, doing a few workshops around, if they're right at the start of the product journey, doing workshops in, okay, what are the business outcomes that you're trying to do? And it's a full-on day of workshops. There are other days that could be going in, head down, just trying to figure out, okay, what's the next stage of this? What analytics can we have to figure out what's the next stage of this product? So it's very different depending on what problem you're trying to solve, who you're working for, and what stage the product's at.
Do you usually do this in pair, or do you do this like you do this in a team for sure? But do you have like a counterpart, like a pair, or do you go about this yourself and just gather people depending on the stage?
So I think in the past it depends. So I've worked very closely with BAs, who I'd consider I'd spend a lot of time with, very closely with designers who I'd spend a lot of time with, or sometimes it is a lot of time on your own. Yeah.
And yourself?
I used to do this job like by myself, and before I started at ThoughtWorks. And it's so much better working with other people, and it's taken me a long time to learn how to, like I used to have everything in notes or spreadsheets, and how to blow it up and put it up on walls and work through it.
We love going through post-it.
Yeah.
You can see where Pete went, he just left a trail of post-its.
It's amazing. Post-its and shoes. Just
And
Yeah, of course.
I spend a lot of my day answering questions. So I make sure that I'm available for people who have a problem, want to try to get through the problem and work through it, that they can come and ask me a question, and I can help them work out.
Do you find that interrupting? Because I talk to many people that they once they're zoned in, they kind of want to be zoned in. I guess the same for you as well.
Yeah, it's. I don't have the luxury of being able to zone in. It's not like when I was coding and I could just put headphones on and just code away happily and commit, and it was fine. This job is about helping people, and it's about helping people understand how to get through the problems that they're having. So I have to be interruptible if I'm going to do my job properly.
Yeah.
That also means that I have to work long hours, because I have to then go and make up a lot of.
And so 75% interruptible. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much 75% interruptible. When I'm in Melbourne, some mornings I get to work at 7 o'clock, and sometimes I won't leave until 7:30 at night, because the 8 hours in between is all interrupted. And that's just how I.
How do you roll?
That's how I roll. I'm lucky enough I don't have kids, so I don't have to look after them in those hours. Don't have any pets, so I don't have to walk them. I have a wife who is very patient with me and understands. And yeah, that's just. But the job is about helping people.
Do you have a different approach? So
She does not help anyone.
I say
Work it out yourself.
just put on a headphone.
no, I think it's very similar. I
Yeah.
think always that is a key thing of the product owner. You're there to help the team, to set the vision, to help answer any questions, set a direction. So you have to be available and you have to be interruptible. It's part of that role, and being able to communicate and act as the I've spent a lot of time with core users or business and really understood this. How can I make sure that the whole team understand that just as well? So yeah.
All right, cool. I think we have prior list questions
Yes.
and voted by the community as well.
Well,
So maybe take.
So
take-
like
yeah.
we'll jump into the questions. So the first.
Just before you do, I
Go
just
ahead.
realised I'm wearing this jacket while people are filming, and that's going to be driving their like screens crazy. I'm really sorry.
That's okay. You just move around some more. Yeah, just mess it up.
Yeah.
Break the metrics a little bit.
Great.
You took something you don't know what it was.
Okay, so the first questions with 83 votes is what is the key to balance between user happiness and business survival?
Easy
Who
one,
came up with
easy
that
one to
question?
start
Like,
with.
who wrote that question?
I guess. Well, it's voted by the community, right? So I think this is one of the.
But who wrote it? Like someone must have written it, and then other people voted on it.
Yeah,
Sure.
So like, a stranger, no one here.
we don't know.
Right. So
We don't
someone
know. Yeah.
someone writes it, and then everyone else votes
Yeah,
on it.
83 votes.
And
Yeah.
could you read it out again, please? I need to write this down.
So, but
If you have a whiteboard,
It's okay, it's
you can
okay.
phone your friends.
I think in essence, what you try to ask is
Yeah.
that building a product is a trade-off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So how do you balance the right trade-off?
Yeah.
The slider there, I think what they have is between business and user.
Yeah.
Of course, the other trade-off is the technology, the cost.
Yeah.
So feasibility,
Yeah.
desirability, and feasibilities.
Yeah.
Basically, product is it's a trade-off.
Mhm.
So maybe what they're asking is how do you do the trade-off?
Yeah.
And please don't say it depends.
Oh no.
It doesn't depend.
Keyword.
It always depends. We'll just have that as a
There's a very strict rule, isn't there? We just can't share. It just.
Oh, the secret.
Secret,
Yeah.
the
Oh.
Yeah,
I mean, we get charged out of the significant. You can't just go around.
Well,
putting
you
that out.
can give us a little teaser, right? Like a little trailer, you know. So, would you like to know more? Then they can subscribe and buy more.
Actually, interestingly, a lot of the things that we've been doing for the last week and a half while we've been here have been trying to help them with that exact problem or that exact kind of dilemma. How can you have user happiness and have a business model that works? And fundamentally, if you're not, you can have very happy users. If you're not making any money, then it's not a viable model. I think the way that we and also yes, there's a tension between them, but also if you've got user happiness, you're a long way there. So how we've done it over the past kind of week and a half, just to give a kind of very real example, is we always set out with right at the start what are the business outcomes you're trying to achieve. So as a business, why do you exist? What is your purpose? And then what is the product purpose? So what are the really key business outcomes that you're trying to do? And then you can align everything to that. So how can you then say, okay, so that's the business outcome. How can you have user outcomes that align with it and match with it? So that's what we try to do. You start with that, and then
Start with the business, and then how do we now take the user through that? Is that what you said?
Well, nothing should exist if it doesn't serve both the business and the user.
Sure.
And so the business is paying for it. So we make sure that what's being built serves them first. But if it doesn't serve the user, it also doesn't get made. Right? It has to fulfill both.
Okay. Let me put a little bit slightly different question then. If you find yourself in a room full of executive or the managers who just throwing out business ideas, how do you kind of get them back to the balance?
Usually I wait until they tire themselves out.
Yeah. Wait for the dust to settle,
That-
and then
that's
say,
true,
"All
yeah.
right, guys." And then
It depends. It depends.
Oh no.
So the way that we do it as well is there's always got to be a clear line of sight between what the business outcome is and what the user outcome is, and how those two things are connected and how one relates to the other. So for example, one of the things that we've been using is what we call a value tree. And a value tree, all it does is say, what are you trying to achieve as a business? Why do you exist? So why do you exist as a business? And then you align that to, okay, so how can you match that to a set of user outcomes that then help you achieve that goal, but also you find that place in the market, or you find that place that users aren't quite satisfied with, where you can help
find a
them,
gap.
and it helps you achieve your model.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been doing it for the last week and a half.
But in this scenario that you've painted, it's like very realistic.
It
stress disorder.
It felt real, right? It felt
Yeah.
real.
Sometimes they don't want to listen,
True.
and you just have to wait until they tire themselves out. Like actually, just let them say all of their ideas.
Just let them get it out. Like get it out.
And I sit there and I write them all down.
Sure.
And
Make sure their ideas are captured. Yeah.
and they can see that they're listened.
Yeah.
They're being listened to, because that's very important with stakeholders. They want to know that they're being listened to, and so I let them talk, and I write down what they say, and I say it back to them. But sometimes I say it back to them with the word "why" at the start. So, why do you want to build an aeroplane that has a propeller on the top? Why do you think that's important? And I start to challenge them after that. And sometimes, if they're very good stakeholders, they will have answers, and they will have thought about this, and they will have thought about this problem for ages. And sometimes it will just be
silence.
Because my cousin drew a picture of an aeroplane with a helicopter on, with a propeller on the top, and it just seemed to make physical sense. And I will say, well, have you done physics or an aeronautical engineering degree? And they will say no, and I will say, well, that's where we should start.
So let me get this clear. What you're saying is that business survival first, user happiness later.
No. I'm saying they can't, they're yin yang, right? They can't exist without each other.
Yeah, so they can't exist without the other, but you've got to know why you're doing something to begin with as a business.
All right. I think let's move on to the next question.
Really, because I've got like 4 more hours of...
Just tease them a little bit.
Okay.
Sure. You want to finish it?
No, I was going to say it'd be good to hear, share other experiences. If you've got other ways of where you found this a challenge, then it's good to.
Oh yeah, make it interruptible.
I didn't bring my own pillow to clutch. Some people did, and that's very...
Some had it.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks. But now you don't have a pillow to clutch.
Oh.
That's nice. You
But
can have
one of the things that I think is I learned from you too, right, is one of the ways to actually write a hypothesis, and I think that's really, really awesome. So like you got a card, and then you got 3 post-its, and then you say this feature is because user outcome and business outcome, and that's really clear. It's like with this feature, user outcome, user will get this, business will get this, and if these 3 things doesn't make sense, don't do this. Let's not explore further, and you can prove one of them at a time, right? So I think that's.
I guess what I can, yes, I think that's very, very good framework. I can share a little bit more based on what I'm hearing from people here. Like the 2 more layers to this is, one is they're not consultant. So usually consultant are brought in when there's an issue, right? And they're ready to be heard. So that's one.
Or they want someone to blame.
Or they want someone to blame,
Of course.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like, blame those guys, right? So definitely one. Like, so maybe the stakeholders already been massaged somewhat. And the second layer is the culture layer. You might have seen it being here in Thailand. We, as a culture, are not a why so much. Like, why would we do this? Like, it's challenging the authority, right? We value harmony. So doing that disrupts. So that just put it a little bit more difficulties in doing those things. Just want to share that. If you have some tips, would be great.
Well, we were saying that to a client today. It's really easy for us because we can go in and meet with the CEO and challenge her, and then after 2 weeks we're out.
Yeah.
You fired, not.
But there's no like follow-on consequences. It's not like on Monday I'm going to go to work in the morning and think, oh no, I've got a meeting with her again today, and last week I really pushed her on this idea and she's going to take it out on me. Right? I don't have that. So we can go in and we can have a bit of a rougher attitude with clients than people within the business can have. But one of the things I've discovered in my time is that not just here. Sometimes people are like around the world just really. They're fine with just having a job to go to in the morning. And it doesn't bring them amazing happiness, and they don't get to work on anything amazingly challenging, but they get to talk about what was on TV last night with people they see every day, and it's very comfortable, and they get to do that, and they do it every day, and they get paid, and it's fine. And so they don't rock the boat. And I think one of the reasons I became a consultant is because I can't not rock the boat.
I like that. I think it's yeah. If you're cruising, you're cruising.
Yeah, that's good philosophy. Going to the next question with 34 votes. This time, I suggest you pick up a post-it and pen ready. It's a really long question. Okay,
Really?
here we go. What is the difference between product owner, product specialist, product manager, and UX?
She didn't even
like,
write anything
oh,
Are we
down.
not allowed to say depends?
You can.
So,
The spelling.
Using that sentence.
I mean, we can add loads more to that list as well. The
Sure,
amount
yeah.
of different things I've heard: product manager, product owner, product person, product lead, product specialist, business analyst. There's so many different things to do them. I think part of the difference is it depends where you work and what organisation you're at as to what these roles are called.
Yeah.
So there isn't one true definition anywhere you go. I think it's exactly the same as someone asked me this today and said it's the same as anything else. If you ask someone what a project manager is in one organisation and another, they're completely different things there as well. So the way that I've seen certain splits of these roles, so I've seen where a product manager looks after the kind of end-to-end of the product. So they look after the kind of vision, the market trends, the execution. They'll work on the kind of go-to-market strategy. So someone that looks after the whole strategy and execution. And there's others where I've seen product owner who are then just more focused on working with the delivery team on the execution. So that's one way that I've seen a product manager and a product owner will work very well together. However, you can change those two roles around in another organisation and they might be doing the opposite things. But they're two roles I see work. One's very much in how can you work with a team to execute, and the other is how can I continually look forward into the future of what's the future state of this product? How do I make money of this going forward? So that's one way that I've seen difference between the two.
A few things about this. One, I believe very strongly that if you have the title product owner, your job is to make decisions about the product, and then be sure of those decisions, weigh those decisions, and feel free to change those decisions as you get new information. I think that's the product owner's job, because it's essentially like their name that's going on it at the end.
I'd agree with that. That's important.
It wasn't until I started working with you, though, that I thought that there was a difference between a product specialist and user design. But the way that you approach a problem is definitely from like the product's perspective. And the way I approach a problem is from why the hell would people want it? And you look at it from like, why does this product exist in the world? And they're kind of two sides of the same coin. And we meet in the middle and we both agree, that hammer without a handle shouldn't exist, right? Because nobody can use it and it feels stupid. But yeah, I think we come at the same problem from slightly different perspectives.
I guess I can add a little more. I think the reason why people are asking and voting for this question is because the majority of the UX community are just about to take off, or somewhat took off. When that happens, there will be this loads of explosion of roles or interests. And people Google stuff and then they see these different things and they're trying to understand, like comprehend the world around them. So I think this is why they're asking this, sort of feel their way in the dark.
Yeah, and I think back to Josh's point, I think you can have a look at the product owner, product manager, product specialist, and actually fundamentally the things that doesn't matter which one of those that you're doing or want to do or should do, yeah, they have to be making the decisions about where this product should move forward and taking in everything from, you know, we talked about the user perspective, the business perspective, and is this actually realistic to do? Like operationally or technically, can we do it? And it takes all of those different viewpoints, uses that information and makes a decision to go forward.
So I would also say don't get hung up on labels.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's
Everyone's there to make a good product.
Yeah.
It should be everybody's job to add information to the decisions that the product owner needs to make, and to offer solutions.
Very interestingly, we're doing an experiment at the moment, or I've seen at the very start of an experiment, is where they're trying to staff a team based on skill sets and what's needed, not roles and what's needed. So it is around, okay, what problem do we have to solve here? What product is this? Okay, so what kind of skills do we need to do that? And that's where it's not, we need a product owner, it's starting to say designer, it's just what do we need? And because there is a lot of flexibility in this, depending on the product and what you're trying to design for.
So I guess it's between discovery of ideas and like delivery of how do we do things, that kind of thing, right? From ideas to user's hand, that kind of art, and kind of what role you play in that. It doesn't matter of labels. Let me put a question in terms of analogies then. Like in making a movie, right? For example, a producer should not be a director, except you're Spielberg. But why? But why, right? Because the producer owned the money, and the director owned the visions. If you have that person to be the same, then he just blows the budget.
Spend the money.
So what I'm asking is, in this art of ideas to user's hand, is there a conflicting area that you shouldn't play?
Anything that should not be overlapped.
Yeah, like one person to be too powerful.
Yeah. So I'd say the kind of how it's built in the technical area, then that's the product owner or product manager should never make a decision about okay, how should we actually build this thing. I'd say budget's different. I think that they should be in charge of, or at least understand how much investment should be in this, because that's a very key decision to make. How much investment are we willing to put into this product at this stage? And I think that that goes part and parcel of the kind of user outcomes and business outcomes you think you're going to achieve. So I think they should be on that. The question on whether it's being delivered on time or not, the age-old question. It's
what is time?
Yeah.
it's so like such an old question.
All right.
I mean, this you bring up an interesting point, kind of around side, which is on time. Like a film has to be on time. Right?
Yeah, it has to release.
It has to release.
The
money's been
marketing is
invested.
Yep.
Screens have been booked.
Yeah.
A digital product isn't like that. A digital product can be. You don't have to finish it before you can release it. So on time doesn't really exist. Is it still moving and getting better? Is the question that.
I think it's a really good point. Yeah, you're right.
It's not a film.
It's not a film. All right.
Yeah. Turns out software, not a film.
All right. Shall we move on? Move on. All right. The next question is how to influence business or stakeholders to be more user-centric instead of competitor-centric.
Competitor-centric. And I would like to highlight it's competitor, right? So I assume that it's like, oh, my competitor has it, I must have it too.
Yeah, heard a lot of that.
I give you some more information. I don't know if you heard, but one of the bank just released a major revamp, like billions and billions of baht. Just went in, revamped everything, big campaign. Soon there'll be Me Too, right? Like that guy does it. We must do it too.
Oh, which bank did the revamp?
The green one.
The green one. Yeah. We passed that one.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of tied into that question, right? So how do we make sure that it's a user-centric, not competitor-centric, right? Because there's like 7 banks in Thailand, more or less, right? So when one bank does it, there will be a reaction of the other
Domino
6 bank.
effect, man.
Yeah.
The other 6 probably probably have a meeting right now in the meeting room. They have these features. We must do something. Right? And when that happens, users kind of got
Forgotten,
left out of the room.
As the user is not the most important person at that time.
Mm.
The bank is.
The bank is.
The bank is. So you might disagree with this.
He just dropped an anchor.
Fight.
Dropped an anchor. Like, this is where we fish.
The bank is in a situation where their competitors are moving in a direction and they didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is an oh shit moment for the bank. The bank needs to be true to themselves before they're true to their customers and before they. So rather than copying their competitors, they need to do a moment of introspection and say, okay, we're in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
What is important to us, and why do we exist? If they answer that question properly, their customers are going to be taken care of. So they won't move. They won't move in opposition to their customers' needs, but they might not necessarily go in the direction that their competitors went. The fact that their competitors did a major revamp, though, is vital, because what that does is it starts to boil up the market and people start getting scared. When people are scared, they do one of two things. They either come up with something brilliant, or they shit their pants and run away. And most companies do the latter. Right? Most companies just go, ah! Some kind of idea that's similar, or like they'll change all their branches around so that the tellers are at the front and the door is at the back.
Because we're cool.
Yeah, because we're cool. We don't have a number system, now we have a letter system. They have to start to look at, what is it about us that makes us us, right? So, great, so the Green Bank, they got themselves a new shade of green and redid all of their windows. But we're the Blue Bank, and what it means to be the Blue Bank is that we're trusted to stay the same. Now, we don't want to look old, so we'll make changes slowly. We'll make changes that fit with the time, but what we will also do is make sure that over the next 5 years, we revamp all of our branches so that we build trust into the architecture, for example. And that's who we are. But they have to look at themselves before they look at users and before they look at their competitors.
That's a really good point.
Katie?
I
think you're just wrong.
I do. I also think that with a competitor doing something and looking at it from a user, from what the users want, they're not always different things. I think what you'd have to look at is, from a competitor making a big move, why have they done that, and have they done that because that is what the customers want, and then they should have an introspective moment and say, okay, do we need to be making changes for our customers? Are we being too slow at making changes, or are we doing something that's not right, and is someone going to switch to that back now? So I think it's always looking at the two in light, but it's not just jumping on something your competitor's doing because you think that's the right thing to do. I think like one of the examples that you see in retail, because that's one of my kind of core backgrounds, is when Amazon Go released their kind of trial store in Chicago. All the retailers that's what we need to do. That's where we need to go. We need to have cashless, cashierless. That's not true. That's not really what people want. So they'll start trialing these things of how can we go to the extremes, and actually need to look at, well, what is it? Maybe it's more the local feel that your customers will want and will pay more for.
I think that's very interesting. I like the way you guys approach the answer, because the question gives you two choices. It's duality, right? It's either product or user. I mean, it's either user or the competitor, and you guys no, look at yourself. Look within.
We've done the consultant thing. Maybe consider this third option.
The other two are too hard.
I find that very interesting because it's a paradox either way, right? So I'll give you a third option. It's very very consultant. All right.
All right. Well,
I-
next question. All right.
How many votes did that last question have?
That was 22 votes.
Should have had more.
I know.
No,
Right?
it was a good question.
It's a good question,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
There's
Or maybe you guys-
session from live session to.
Oh, okay.
And we.
Okay, we will ask later. Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, do it now.
Yeah.
Like
Good
if like
question now.
for, like get the
Someone-
question
someone
ready,
got
and then
question?
if there's an opportunity, you can ask it now. I'm just gonna go with the poll at the moment. So
Alright.
this is gonna be an interesting one. The way to combine design thinking, lean, agile, etc., 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 etc.
By Johnny's book.
Ah.
You need to tell. You need to say more.
We work with
Johnny
a
Schneider.
man named
Yeah.
Johnny Schneider. He wrote a book that is all about.
Made famous by Pete.
Is
Johnny
it?
was made famous by Pete.
Wait,
The
no,
book
no,
was
no.
made
Like,
famous-
I introduced the book to the committee, but anyway.
Right. So, yeah, Johnny wrote a book that is all about how to combine lean and agile and design thinking
Mhm.
into your processes. They coexist. He's got a triangle and everything.
Yeah, yeah, and people with triangle have to be trusted. I just a big plug as well. The UX Thailand conference, the workshop portion in February. Johnny is coming in to do the workshop, particularly on this topic as well.
You should.
So,
You
So
want-
buy, subscribe, or whatever. Call to action right here.
How many votes on that question?
that one was 13.
13.
So you should have at least 13 tickets to Johnny's.
The tickets are kind of expensive because Johnny is expensive. So
What is expensive?
what is
What
expensive,
is
right?
expensive?
Like so.
Oh, it's like time.
I do.
Go on.
Just to add a little bit onto that, I think there is always the tension, and I think this was in the book of like build the right thing and then build the thing right. So how do you go as quickly as possible, but make sure you're building the right thing? And there's always going to be that tension. But I think one of the things that we've been trying to do, especially when we've kind of worked together, is you always need to just make sure that you've got enough that you're going in the right direction, you're continually moving in that right direction.
Yeah, and that's very much the lean methodology. I still don't really know what design thinking is.
It's just design.
It's just thinking. It's just taking apart an idea and putting it together. And I think it's just something they teach at business schools to make business people feel like they're interesting. And I hope none of them are watching. Agile is a project management philosophy and methodology. It's designed to help you build things quickly, and that's it. They coexist. They're not at odds, and it's really easy to work them in together.
Yeah.
You got to have the triangle though, and you can only get the triangle if you get the book. But the book is free. If you think that giving up your email address is free. To O'Reilly, they already have your email address.
Cool. Shall we move on to the next question?
Or
the
did
live
Jane have a question from
Oh,
live?
yeah.
Yeah. Only one question.
You can read it.
You can.
Just read it.
You're gonna write us an email?
Just read it.
I'll let you read it.
Okay.
It's quite long.
Oh, holy
Quite
shit.
long.
Okay.
It's
You
an
might
essay.
need a post-it. Quick question.
Good.
Quick.
Whenever it
question.
starts with quick question.
Quick question. I'm not sure if it's
My
related.
mother once. Yeah, go on.
How far ahead should a product manager / product owner plan for a project? Traditional process require a year or half a year roadmap of a project, but usually, as an agile product owner, I mostly don't have full picture for the entire year or half a year. I usually have just 2 to 3 months ahead.
So when I've been looking at kind of roadmaps, and there isn't a right answer to this, but we kind of one of the things I've done is kind of like what I call rolling wave planning. So you'll never know beyond 2 months the details of what you're actually going to do, because you're getting the feedback and you're iterating from that. However, you should have a view further into the future of where you want to be. So when we talked about the kind of business outcome, you should have a view further into the future of this is where I want to be in a year. But that's not to say you know how you're going to get there. You just know kind of where you're going to go. So within the first couple of months, it's more detailed. The further on you go, the less detailed. It might just be, I've got a goal of where I want to be, but I don't even know the kind of features or anything that will get me there. So you can plan out a year, 2 years, 10 years if you want into the future, but the further out you go, the less detail you have about it. And I say a couple of months in advance is where you've got the, okay, I know this is what I actually want to do within the next couple of months, is how I see it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the problems with governments. Because to run a government, you have to convince people that you know what the future is going to bring, and so then you plan that out and you budget for that, and then it stuffs up, right? And then the newspapers, because people still read newspapers, really criticize you, right? The media criticizes you because you made a bad decision with a lot of money because you're under a lot of pressure to make a decision with a lot of money. Anytime you're making a decision about 10 years down the track with a lot of money, chances are it's going to be wrong. It's very hard to make the right decision, which is why you want to make the smallest decision possible, because if it's wrong, you can backtrack, right? Who has used like Git for, I
Git.
have. So, version control is amazing. This amazing thing that we have in building software, because we can make a mistake and we can backtrack as much as we want, and we might just lose like a few days of work and go back to a point, and the film sliding doors exists in the software world. We can go back and make the decision we wish we had made 2 days ago if we want to. With projects, you've got to give yourself that leeway as well. So yes, have this vision that you want to go for, but don't say this is the product that's going to be released in 2 years and it will not deviate from this, because like 99.5% chance that you will be wrong.
Just a few more things I like to add as well. People at home as well and here, you got to be very careful.
They might not be at home. They might be.
So I'm not talking to those people. Just those specifically at home.
People in a park go home.
Okay, so I just want to add a little bit. The reason why I think they ask this question is to try to find the right numbers. Like they look for magic numbers, so you're going to be very careful, because now that they heard you say 2 months, they're going to think the right number is 2 months, right? So just yeah. So it depends. It depends, right? On the comfort level. It depends on what, right? It depends on the comfort level of the organization as well.
Yeah.
Like how. But of course, we know the granary of the idea, that the small as closer as the team get. I like the analogy of the delivery team is like a train. So they're kind of going, and the discovery team kind of build the road just ahead. With the business objective saying
Terrible way to run a train. Right, but yeah, so it's like a beyond budgeting thing, right? So they're building the track just ahead of where
just
the train is.
right now. But yes, you don't want to be on that train.
No.
You don't want to get crashed.
But I think the thing about 2 months is it feels like 2 months from most people's perspective, but what you really have to look at is how much money are you willing to invest that could just be lost tomorrow. So if you have you have to have a certain amount of budget that you can just burn, and you can plan 2 months ahead, but you're never going to burn that whole 2 months, right? You'll plan 2 months ahead, but the work that you will do in that 2 months will tell you whether or not your plan for that 2 months is right. And every day you'll do some more work that will tell you whether or not it's right. The more you do that work, you're burning down on that 2 months worth. By the time you get to the end of that, you're sure that 2 months was fine, right? But all you're ever doing is risking that 2 months worth of budget.
I think you're right though. I think 2 months isn't the magic number. It's just you should
A
have
number.
a shorter time period where you know what you want to do, and then a longer time period where you know where you're trying to head, but you don't have the plan for it.
How's that person at Good, all good.
Back to the questions here, right? The next question
These
is
are the least popular questions.
not yet, but we can go down if you want. The next question is not a real question because it said design thinking versus lean versus agile. Which one is good for our company? I think you answered that a little bit already. You have anything to
I don't
add
know
on
that
this?
person's. I don't know that person's company, and I
Yeah.
don't think that person knows ThoughtWorks cost rate.
Oh my god, selling. Let's skip.
No, I think to try
Okay,
to...
fine.
No, let's try to dig under... Because people voted for this, right? So they are some... I think...
How many people?
11 people.
11 people.
11 people for
That's
this one.
almost as many as the good question.
Yeah.
I think it's for that. It's probably the question isn't which one of these frameworks or which one of these things should I be doing. It's well, what is your company trying to do, and you'll probably take principles and things from all of them.
So let me help a little bit. My interpretation of this is, again, to do with the maturity of the ecosystem and the Thai tech company and maturity. I think it's more around we trying to change. We try to distract ourselves from your traditional company, right? And there's so many, waterfall,
silos.
There's a lot of that right now, and
How do I start?
They're looking for a trail.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what they're trying to go to.
Yeah.
Like, what's my upgrade path?
Yeah.
I think is what they're trying to say. I see this many great things.
Yeah.
People on YouTube are being happy, doing this thing, and they meetups, right? But I'm sitting at the office working, watching live right now. Where
Not
do
at
I
home.
start? I think that's what they're asking.
Where do you start?
The trail. They're looking for a trail.
Work out why you're in business, what you want your business to do, try different things. If it doesn't work, change it.
I think ours is always
That's it.
a genuine approach. Just try little. With one team to start with. You can't change a whole company like that. You just start with one team, and probably start with the one that you believe. Okay, we think there's the most value within this team at the moment, and we think we can actually get something good from this. Start with one team and just do it bit by bit, and then build it up.
It's a sneezing whiteboard.
What's going on?
It's true.
Okay. Next question is.
Do any of the people here have
Yes.
questions?
Do you guys?
I like a question from a real person.
We have that question prepared. That's why we got a sneezing whiteboard, which we
Ah.
will get to. Which we will get to in a sec. We already got that prep.
Well,
So,
how are we doing on time?
I think this thing should finish by like 8.
Are you estimating?
It's 8
I've got
right
a flight
now.
on Saturday. Flying out on Saturday.
Okay. How are you guys feeling?
All nighters. All right.
Let's go for 15 more minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll do one last question from the community, and then we'll go into the people in the room.
All right.
So
So let's not look at the number. Look at the hardest one.
yeah,
The hardest one.
The one that's most interesting, or the one that you
Yeah.
wrote.
I didn't wrote it, but I take fastest way to find vision from stakeholders,
Ooh, I like
CEO of clients.
Because if you ask them the wrong question, they'll run on, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And then you have to wait for them to get tired.
yeah,
which is,
they come spring and the leaves are falling. You've been in that room.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to waterboard them. The best way to get the vision from a CEO is that the
stakeholders, CEO or CEO of the clients.
there isn't.
I think the one way that we always try to do it is to say, like, what is that? What if you could only measure one thing, or if you could only have one thing, what would that one thing that you could measure would be?
So one number that matters.
Give an example.
And then you can work it back from there.
So it might be, I want to have the most customers of any bouncing ball company.
So it
I
could,
run a bouncing ball company, by the way.
Okay.
And I want to have more customers than anybody else.
so it could be customer, it could be revenue, it could be less
No,
fraud,
no.
that
Could be
kind
that-
of thing.
could
Right?
be- Because there's high fraud in the bouncing ball game.
I'm just trying to pick a negative number.
But it could also be, I want to have the biggest range of bouncing balls. I want to have the bouncing balls that are most associated with fun, right? And we try to get that concept out.
Yeah. I also think that some people don't always know what their vision is themselves, and you need to try and you need to try and help them get to it. And I think you try and help them by just getting them to focus on something. So that's something that we've been trying to do a lot as well. That, you know, we'll go into clients and they'll say, I just want it all. I want everything.
Yeah.
My vision is to have the most customers, the best quality products, the biggest range. And it's like, well, okay, you can have all that, but what do you do first? And it's that, what do you do next? What do you do first to try and get to the cake? If you can get rid of everything else, what's the most important thing that you're left with?
And how much work are you willing to invest in it, and how much time and how much money are you willing to invest in it? And so we start to deal with real questions like that, where they have to actually, probably the best way is to get them to account for the things that they're saying. Right. So if you can associate a real cost to the thing that they're saying, that can help. But if they're lying to themselves, it might take several sessions to do that. You can't just do it in one session for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we had one, not necessarily about vision, but just about what people say they want versus what they actually want. We were in a session today where we just talking about the principles. So what are the actual product principles that you want here? And we were trying to get them to come up with the 5, and there was a big discussion about honesty. And you know, Josh was saying we don't really believe that's what you're trying to get to. Anyway, the debate was up. They wanted honesty. And then when you got them to vote at the end, so individual voting, no one voted for that. So everyone voted for other things. But sometimes you've got to have the debate and you've got to go through it and then get to the actual, okay, now prioritise and go to it, when in the end they don't.
And honesty seems like a principle that everybody would want to have as part of the thing that they're building or the company that they're running. But imagine if you're a spy agency, right? If you're a spy agency, honesty is definitely not on the plate. But also, if you're, Fox News, honesty is not on the plate. You want to control the message, not be honest about the message. So, the things that seem like they're obvious aren't always that obvious.
So just to recap on what you guys are saying, I'm hearing two things, right? One is to pick the right metrics, the right numbers, right?
Yep.
That one thing that
One
matters.
metric.
And second is to make them accountable on what they pick.
Yes.
Right? And then they go through several exercises to try to massage and live and right? Ask the same question many different ways, kind of people voting, that kind of thing, to at least get these 2 ways. So I have a follow-up question I think could be interesting is, what are the telltale signs of the wrong numbers, the wrong metrics, right? If people are tracking the wrong metrics, right? You must have seen some of those, right? When you ask for that one number to track and it's a wrong number. I'll give you an example. Number of app downloads. It always goes up.
Yep.
Right? So that's a wrong number.
Very successful company.
Clearly.
It just keeps growing. Yes, it's the wrong number. For something like app downloads, you have to show them that the other side, right? You have to show them how much their app is getting used. So it's been downloaded 500,000 times, but only 3 people used it today. Does that make you happy? You've given this away for free, right? You have to show them the other side in a case like that. But there are other situations where people just pick the wrong number and it's just slightly wrong. Like I worked for an airline, and one of their daily metrics is how many passengers they call it uplifted. So how many passengers went up into the air. I want to know why it's not how many passengers landed. Right? It's slightly different. Or percentage. Like, because some passengers are always going to die in the air. You can't avoid that. You can't, control when people... But you've got to have a number that you want to hit for what's your percentage of passengers that you want to land every day. It's got to be like, 3 nines, at least. Right? And that's the metric. You want 99.9% of all your passengers landing every day safely and alive. Right? And that's your goal. the number that you got up into the air, I'm like, that's the easy part.
Hmm.
You just have to get them through the airport and into the plane.
I think I think those two numbers are same number, but they measure different things, right? The uplifted is more of the revenue kind of thing, like
Yeah.
right, and the landing is more around safety. I hope.
It's like a passenger that's landed is a passenger who can return. Right. It's a passenger who can be a return customer.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way.
Cool.
How does it work in retail?
Ooh.
So about measuring the right thing,
Yeah.
exhibition. I think I think it's there are obviously a lot of vanity metrics that you're kind of talking about. The app downloads, the number of page views, all of this.
How good do I look?
I think it's knowing, you always need to know why you're measuring something.
Yeah.
So you're measuring something because you need to make a decision on that.
Mm.
So you're measuring it because you know that, okay, so that I need to improve on this, or I know I'm successful because of this. So if, as long as you know why you're measuring something and you can make a decision on that, then it's probably a good thing. If you're measuring something to just say, yeah, great, done that, and you can't make any actual improvements on it.
So if let's say that there's a room of people, and then there's like 5 numbers on the board. Which one trumps the other one? Like, how do we know which one? Like, let's say there's 5 numbers, right? You can't be. It's always a trade-off. Is there like a way to help? At least, you know, like this is the primary numbers, and the rest are like secondary numbers.
Well, you just have to ask what each number tells you.
Mm.
So, what is this number telling you? What is it telling you about the business? And then you ask a number of questions beyond that are basically like a 3-year-old asking why, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where they either say, "Oh, it makes me feel good," or they get all flustered and they leave and they kick you out of their office and they never hire you again. But you always have to interrogate the numbers. Always interrogate the numbers. For years, television looked at the wrong metrics. They looked at how many people tuned into a show, not how many people watched the ads. And I mean, that's neither here nor there. It worked for them. They made lots of money until they stopped. But for them, the show was like an abstraction of watching the ads. But when the remote control was invented, people stopped watching the ads because they're lazy, right?
Yeah.
They used to not get up and change the channel,
And
and now they
do.
didn't have to change the channel, but the metrics stayed the same.
So then you need to always re-examine if it's still relevant.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Again, I'm being selfish. That was slightly a twist of the question. When you're measuring things, that's quantitative, right? That's a numbers. You can quantify it. What about, would you running a risk on losing something qualitative? How do you bring qualitative metrics or qualitative indication back into the room?
Hire us.
I think you're always doing both. Or any good product team, any good organisation is always doing both of them.
Yeah.
So you might be measuring something quantitative.
What
just
would it
one
look like?
specific thing.
Sorry,
What qualitative?
But the app download is vanity and quantitative, right?
Yeah, so qualitative, you should never stop talking to your customers, and you should never stop getting the feedback from them ever. It doesn't matter whether whether you've not launched anything and you're trying to figure it out, or whether you've been in business for 50 years. So you'll always get that qualitative as you go through.
But what's the one that matters though? Like there can be many, right? There's the signal versus noise. How do you pick the right one?
If you know your business well, so if you go back to the bank story, if you know your business well, you'll know when your customers are telling you something that is true to the thing that you're building. You just will. If you're lying to yourself, you're gonna believe the lies that people tell you. But you have to always read the comments, and if you treat yourself and there's a whole lot of negative stuff about your product, but it's all from haters and trolls, and then there's some really good ones that call out that very specific thing that you put in your app that you knew was going to be the soul of the app, then you've done all right.
All right.
Okay, so like
On the next section
thank you
of the show.
the people from Facebook. Go on, Jean.
Well, yes, I grouped it into two, I guess. It's kind of like this group could be the same. It's about balancing between,
Balancing between business and UX.
yeah, business, UX, user and business, and
We kind of.
So
Okay,
like,
okay,
just
okay.
because these are from this group, do you think we've answered that? Balancing between business and the user. Have we answered
this
it?
is the first
Is there any
section.
additional, any other question you'd like to ask?
And you're not clients, so you can actually speak out loud.
For free for now.
This group is
All good?
Roles.
Okay, great. Check. I'm gonna check this. Yeah. I like doing this.
This
Yeah.
group is
Sense
kind of
achievement.
like, I guess
It
it's
is
more
grade
like
A's.
roles, what did you do during a day, things like that. Like,
Have we answered those? Roles, what we do during the
Yes.
day.
All
Any
together-
additional
all together
questions?
now.
I think I want to know like the quality like of the UX designer or PO, like what should be our quality.
what should be our quality of
UX or
Like,
PO.
like good traits.
Yeah, like what are the characteristics of a good?
So I'd say decision making is one that you've already said. That is very important, and don't underestimate the the value of that. I think communication, and that's communication both within teams and communication to everyone around you. So making sure that everyone is aligned, I think is a really crucial one. I think curiosity as well. Or you're always trying to ask why, and you're always trying to explore every avenue, whether it's the market trends, whether it's the future of this industry, whether it's what the users are going to be doing in the next, years. I think that's another crucial trait.
Mm.
You're never above doing anything in the room. So if the room needs to be cleaned up, clean up. If post-its need to be moved from one whiteboard to another and no one else is around to do it, do it. There's nothing that you're above in the team, so that's really important because you're still a team player, and that's really vital. That's really vital for when you start talking to people about why their ideas aren't good. That's a really hard conversation to have, and it needs to be had. So you need to be able to have this good combination of humility and arrogance when it's required, right? You're a team player. Your team needs to know that when you're challenging them about their ideas, that it's for the benefit of the team. And so you show that with actions as well as with words.
But I think you need to take on challenge as well. So like challenge comes from everyone and
Oh yeah. It's not like your bum doesn't stink. I often will like design something and then send it to co-workers and say, tell me why this is terrible. Pull it apart. Tell me all the problems that you see with it. Be brutal with it because we don't have enough time for niceties. If I'm going to have to go back and rework something, I want to know quickly.
Does that
It's
answer your
Dragon
question?
Brown.
Oh, good. Great. Cool. I think that's the main theme, but like there's many questions in here. I'm looking at the time and it is 8:18, so we are a little bit late. The people who in the room can come afterward to ask Josh and Katie these questions themselves if they still would like some answer. But I just want to say thank you very much for spending time with us today.
You want to have some final say?
Yeah.
I've not said enough.
Feel free to plug stuff. Sell more books. How do they? Do you have a Twitter? Like, do you on social? How do you?
What I've discovered in the last 3-4 months, when I'm very busy with projects, all my social goes out the window. So I have lots of ideas and none of them get shared. And there are some great truth bombs that have just like gone in the wind because I didn't put them up on Twitter. So that's not shared.
I don't have anything else. Thank you for coming along. It was quite
If you enjoyed this, invite us to more things.
And how long you guys are in town for? What was that?
Yeah, just another few days.
Yeah, I leave on Saturday. Go
Yeah.
back to Singapore. I'm working out of Singapore at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going up north for a little bit, just a holiday. Leave next Wednesday.
You can meet up with your fans up north. All right. Yeah. Let's close this up.
Oh,
Thank you very much, folks. Bye.
Thanks.
It's a Thai event.
No, no. He's gonna ask us to take photos.
We have to take photos.
We don't have to. Break the mold.
Wow, I love a good photo.
But yes. All right.
Yeah, but this
Turn
one's
around,
going to
turn
the
around.
end.
You can take a photo.
Just turn around.
He's doing a selfie again.
Oh, thank you.
Just arrange yourself into the frame, and I'll count 1, 2, 3, and then we
Where are you, pig?
Oh, here we
มองไม่เห็นเลยอ่ะพี่พี
I'll just take a video. Here we go.
Oh my god.
ไม่เห็นก่อน
What?
Say product.
You
Okay,
need
great.
to kneel down.
Oh, no, Dustin.
Could we move the chairs and tables into the original place, please? Otherwise, we will get fined tomorrow morning.